Our project is about taking the images that Dr. Scafidi collected of bruising in the patients and the subjects in her tests, and then trying to develop an artificial intelligence system that can look at those images, identify the bruises in those images, and quantify the level of severity of those bruises.
After we create this bruise detector, then we can take it a step further and create an objective index for bruise classification.
Dr. Scafidi's work is about making what's not visible visible. For people who've been through instances of violence or multiple instances of violence, they can develop bruising on them that's not visible. And in a courtroom, every bit of evidence helps. So when we've had someone who's gone through abuse and we have all of these pictures that can say, yes, these, we have evidence of this, it brings closure to the person who's gone through it, and it also helps them move their case forward.
So the name of this project is Ecology Meets Forensic Entomology, and it is a project that investigates where these two disciplines intersect. It deals both with the community ecology of communities of insects that get attracted to decomposing cadavers, and it's relevant to forensic entomology because you can use these data to try to determine how old the cadaver is.
I'm currently right now identifying flies and wasps and beetles just to see if carcass size has an impact on the species richness and abundance.
When it comes down to it, the data that we are collecting is for forensic entomology. But that's not to say that the data can't be run through somebody else's program and used for something else. Even if your data is collected for a certain purpose, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the only thing that it'll be used for. Someone might take the raw data set that you have and use it for something ecological or environmental or agricultural or even medical, because that's another aspect of entomology.
A group of undergraduate students from graphic design, math, computer science. We try to visualize a group of data.
Biologists really have a hard time communicating information to the general public. And one of the goals as a biologist, or really as a scientist in general, is to discover something, put something out into the world that people can use and that people can understand. And so in working with our tool, what we really want to do is not only do we want to develop a new and interesting way to analyze these regulatory networks, but we also want to come up with a way that we can display that information to the general public for them to be able to understand without much confusion.
We're going to have the user be able to input some genetic data, maybe from several patients, build a control group from a large data set, large database of sort of standard genetic data, and then be able to do a comparison and determine which genetic factors are most important to the experiment that they were performing.
And so we decided to partner up not only with mathematicians to do this analysis, but also with a design group to develop a tool that is pleasing aesthetically and then has an interface that is very user-friendly and then comes out with graphical results or graphical representations of the analysis that are easy to understand for someone who perhaps doesn't have a background in biology or in math.
So the purpose of our project is to gather both movement assessment as well as fitness levels on our tactical athletes in the Prince William County. So a tactical athlete for us is going to be our police, our fire, our paramedics, and EMT.
And then for our county being the fastest growing county in Virginia, there's a need for more police officers and firefighters to protect the community. So right now they're having trouble meeting the need, as these individuals are not able to make it through the academy to become a professional firefighter and police officer.
I'm working on the police injury review. We're reviewing all the data that's been conducted for police, law enforcement, and related injuries, whether it be on duty, off duty, and then we lead them through a fitness program as well.
Our overall goal is to influence policy changes at the upper level administration, as well as for the athletes themselves, do a programming that can prevent injuries that can take them away from the job and or not allow them to do their job to their fullest capability, which could ultimately impact the welfare of the community in which they serve.
The project is about multimodal sign language recognition. What it means is that folks who use American Sign Language, folks who are deaf and hard of hearing, the idea is to take computers and sensors to recognize the American Sign Language and convert it to text or speech.
I help with the sign language aspect of course. So I do the data collection, for example. So I help gather data for, like, for example, maybe we need videos on certain signs so that the system can understand it. So I'll record videos with me signing certain signs to try to see if we can get to work. I also help with other types of things, like maybe we'll use a sensor and I help get data with that. And also my other part of the job is to go out and try to contact deaf community members to try to see what their preferences would be.
This research is going to go out and to help the world, to make it easier for people to communicate.
It could be meaningful for people that have these disabilities and that need it the most. So I think the research that we're doing right now is very impactful. And for that, even though it's a challenging process, it gets me up every day in the morning.
I would say the overarching theme of the Summer Impact Project this year is how biological communities can be used as indicators of environmental quality.
I'm comparing fish communities in two different locations, Hunting Creek and Gunston Cove, and I'm basically seeing how urbanization could affect fish communities.
I'm hoping we'll have a better understanding of how our pollution from plastics throughout the Potomac watershed can affect not just the water quality, but the animals and indirectly the people that interact with it.